Hello, everyone. Welcome to back after this little break that we had during the session. I hope you're all doing well and that you're also enjoying all the talks of this great disruption forum. This is that it is bringing new perspectives for you to bring back home and new ideas so you can also implement at your level and create a positive impact. This talk is also part of the B-Lab Europe Interdependence and Pact series as a kind reminder. And this series aims to really shine the light on pioneering thought leaders from business, finance, public policy, academics, and civil society to all together explore answers to some really big questions that our global community is facing. So building up on the first part of this session that you have just heard 15 minutes ago already, where we really learn from our visionary finance experts sharing their insights on how finance can play a real role to better play the economic system in general, but also the urgency that we have now to contribute to the Sustainable Development Goals and to take a stakeholder type of perspective, taking into account the interest of all stakeholders and not only a small amount of people. So that's why we think that is very important, and you learned also about the practices that are necessary to influence the regulations and how every one of us as a citizen can also play a role to make this change happen and to influence the way the economic system is being shaped. So we would now like to invite you to learn about a very concrete example of how this can be put into practice. So my name is Neila Benamara, and I'm very happy to be here with you. I'm the SDG Program Manager responsible for B-Lab Europe and the UK to guide companies on how their meaningful path and journey to contribute to this common agenda that are the Sustainable Development Goals and integrating sustainability into their core strategy so that they can manage their impact to generate value for all stakeholders, including the people and the planet, which is actually directly linked to B-Lab mission. And for those that were not with us in the beginning of the session, the first part, just a reminder that B-Lab mission is actually to transform the global economy to benefit all the people, communities, and the planet, really leading and pioneering in economic system change. We're creating standards, policies, tools for businesses, and we're also certified companies known as B Corps who are leading the way in how we can take this stakeholder perspective and have a positive impact on society. And I'm very happy to be here today with actually two representatives of certified B Corps with us, presenting to you two committed individuals that are having very complementary roles, but also actively contributing to bring that system change at their level. Just before I'm presenting both of them, I just want to also let you know that this is an interactive session, so we will have a dedicated part for Q&A at the end. So please do not hesitate to let us know about any question, anything you want to know from both our very great speakers, so we can relay your question and have them answer to you. So now, the best part of it is I'm going to introduce both our speakers. I'm very happy to be with them and for us to dedicate this time to talk with us and inspire you. I will start with Paul, which is the head of Danone Manifesto Ventures in Europe, where he is identifying innovative startups and identifying also propositions disrupting the food space as part of this corporate venture. He also works very closely with portfolio partners to optimize their development and growth strategy. And before joining Danone Manifesto Ventures, he worked for Danone for over 6 years, having then gained a very good view of how corporate and multinational is working, such as engaged as Danone is a very strong partner of the B Corp movement, but also recently as a co-CFO for Danone Asia Pacific, so having an international coverage, but also project director for Danone M&A. And he used to be also a finance manager for RBS Global Banking and Markets, and a strategy consultant at Hemeria before, that is now part of Oliver Wyman. So a very complete profile, I would say, both in the transformation part and strategy part, but also the finance side. So we're very happy to have him with us today. And now other great speaker is Jean Moreau, who's the co-founder and CEO of the tech for good startup Phenix that is rising in France at the moment, and that has also very recently, for those that are located in France, launched an awareness campaign on food waste reduction that I'm highly encouraging you to check it out, because the messaging is very powerful. So they're pioneering in that topic, and their main activity is really to give a second life to unsold products from mass distribution and industrial players through two digital tools. One is a mobile application to consumers, and a B2B web platform for charities. So Jean has also set really clear objectives with his team of 160 employees already, with these to thrive towards zero waste and accelerate the transition to a fairer and more circular economy. We're very happy that he's being ambitious, because this is benefiting all the planet, and we're happy also that he's dedicating all this energy to bring that happen on multiple different levels and very different caps. So he's also very active in the impact investing sector, being himself a partner in the impact funds Raise Impact and 50 Impact Partners Impact. But also in France, he's a co-president of Moves, which is a movement of social entrepreneurs in France, and Tech for Good, which is also a really big and growing network of companies, tech companies, using their capabilities to have a positive impact on society. So I would like to welcome both of them. Very happy to have them with us. And maybe we could start the conversation, since the whole discussion is about this relationship between the two of you, by asking Jean to describe a bit how you two met in the first place. We cannot hear you, Jean.
Do you hear me now? Yes, cool. Okay,
yes,
right.
Perfect.
Perfect, thanks. Thank you for this very nice presentation. So I'm Jean. I'm the co-founder of Phenix. I met Paul, who is now one of my investors. I think it was 18 months ago, back in 2018, and we met during a very special event, which is David avec Goliath, organized by Raised. And it's a ceremony awarding the best collaboration between a huge corporate and a startup. And we had the chance to win this prize in 2018 with Carrefour, which is one of our clients, the French retail distribution network. And Paul was in the assistance. And at the end of the show, he came and talked to me, and we had a good feeling. But the thing which is special about this meeting is that it was the very day that we just announced our last fundraising round, because back in November 2018 we raised 15 million rounds of financing. So I said to Paul, I'm very happy to know more about Danone Manifesto Ventures, to know more about your ambitions toward zero waste world. But right now we do not need any more capital. We just need to deploy what we just raised. So it's probably not the best timing. And then we kept the contact and we kept speaking months over months. And 18 months later, we decided with all the shareholders of Phenix to welcome him and Danone Manifesto in the Phenix adventure to fight food waste with us, and it was a good decision.
That's such a nice story to hear, and so nice of you to welcome another investor to your company, which is usually the other way around, right? Yeah. So we're very happy that Phenix is having so much popularity, and thanks to your ambition of really achieving zero waste. That would be really interesting to see the other side of the story also, Paul, to know about the reasons that motivated you to go to that extent and to reach for Jean and to invest in Phenix.
Yes, so hi everyone, I'm Paul. So do you hear me well? Yep, you do? Okay. So I'm leading Danone Manifesto Venture in Europe, and Danone Manifesto Venture is just an arms of the group Danone that invest into talented entrepreneurs that want to disrupt and reinvent alimentations. So that's a bit the reason of existence of Danone Manifesto Ventures. The story on my side is rather simple. I mean, well, it would start with men. Huh? So I was just in all those events where you cross plenty of people. So I've crossed Jean, and I feel the energy and the leadership that he has quite simply on this dynamic of impact. That was the heart of the conversations. Now, the other side of the coin is that on Danone Manifesto Ventures, we've identified few areas of investment where we wanted to really push certain ecosystems, and the waste reductions was one of them. So throughout all the possible startups, entrepreneurs, initiatives that was existing, we went through talking to lots of persons, and we were very much convinced by all the initiatives that Jean was leading, the team and the people we met at Phenix when we had the chance to open the doors.
And it's very interesting that the interest was created by the impact that Phenix is having. Maybe, Paul, could you let us know, tell us more about the manifesto of Danone and how you're actually identifying the opportunities for impact that are being compliant with the ambition of Danone as a whole group?
Sure. So first of all, Danone Manifesto Venture is not per se an impact fund, as you can know in the overall ecosystem. We are not defining ourselves that way. I would say, it's just part of the way Danone has always envisaged business with the dual project, managing business and the social impact or the impact on our overall ecosystem. So I think the reason of being is populating everywhere into the organizations towards this dual project. Now, for Danone Manifesto Ventures, again, the investment thesis is everything that goes around providing supports on two ways, money, but not only, and collaborations and link with the rest of the groups to a talented entrepreneur that are willing to make a positive impact with the two angles of health and sustainability, in a sense. So that's a bit the core of what we are supporting.
So the main aim was really to change the food sector at a sectorial level, which is also a very interesting systemic approach. And knowing that Danone is actually on the way of getting certified as a B Corp and one of the first entreprises à mission in France, as you were talking about this integrated approach, I think that's very interesting for the people hearing from us to understand this type of investment that is not so common, but could actually be multiplied by other companies as well. Maybe going back to Jean, since the reason why you were actually being identified and chosen was this ambition of really changing the food sector but reducing food waste, that could be very interesting for all the audience to know more about the value proposition of Phenix and how you're actually reducing the food waste throughout all the value chain with the different stakeholders. Could you let us tell us more about that?
Sure, I can do. So our mission is to fight food waste, to eradicate food waste all along the value chain from farm to fork. Okay. So basically, we take all the installed products, especially from the industrials, food industrials, and also the retailers. And instead of all the products that are about to expire, so day -3, day -2 versus expiry date, products that were previously destroyed or landfilled or incinerated, and at Phenix we give them a second life through 3 channels mostly. First are the consumers. So we have a B2C mobile application, which is called Phenix, available in France, Belgium, Spain, and Portugal so far, enabling all the consumers to buy at a low price products that are about to expire in the shops near near where they are. Okay, so we empower the consumer to join the fight against food waste and to make an effort every day to fight food waste. Secondly, after the consumer and our B2C mobile app, we put the surpluses and all the leftovers on a platform, a B2B web platform, connecting retailers, factories on the one hand, and charities on the other hand, like food banks, etc. So that products are given not to individual consumers, but to people in need and for the solidarity. And then third, after the consumers and the charity, our third pillar are animal feeding, and all the food which is not either sold at a low price or given to charities is proposed to a zoo, a farm, a horse center, and so on. So that at the end of the day, we reach our goal, which is aiming at zero waste. I mean, at least zero food waste, and make the circular economy the new standard of the industry, and gradually replace the waste traditional waste management players. So that's the ambition of me. And her business model is quite simple. It's on the B2C mobile app, it's a marketplace. So it's a system of microtransactions. Basically, we take €1 per transaction. Each basket sold, we collect €1. On the B2B, on the charities, on the charity platform, we transform a cost center into a profit center by enabling our client to kill costs, because we kill the cost of waste destruction. And in addition to that, they can collect a tax credit, tax deduction up to 60% of the book value of the goods sold and donated to a charity. So they really transform a cost center into a profit center. We really create value. Of course, we create environmental and social value, but we also create economic value, and that's probably one of the keys of the success of Phenix. We make sustainable development. We are in the field of CSR, but with an economic approach, an economic angle, and with an impact on the P&L. And that's what makes us work at scale in the big corporates. So in just 2 figures to finish, we are very proud of our growth so far, because we are 6 years old and we went from 0 to 15 million euros of revenues in 2019. And at the same time, we saved more than 80 million meals from destruction. And on a daily basis, it's 120,000 meals saved each day through the different channels of Second Life that we create. So we are proving, or kind of proving, or we are in the way of proving that you can, at the same time, have a startup or scale-up that is ambitious, which is growing fast, but at the same time, significant impact on the environment. It's no longer in opposition. It's the future of entrepreneurship and the future of startups, what we call tech for good or positive impact solutions, and what it has the heart of the B Corp community. So very proud to show that it's possible.
And thank you for doing that. I can hear the co-president of Tech for Good when he's talking with all the different caps. You're very well representing all the values that you're defending and that you're putting into action, really advocating actively. That's a great company you have invested in, Paul. We're very happy that you did as well, partners. Maybe to go back, I will build up on what Jean was saying, but to go back just to the relationship that you have, so that people can understand how this is illustrating. So you were mentioning that indeed the Manifesto venture was not a typical impact fund, but a corporate venture that was using impact as one of the criteria to select the investments and being coherent with the strategy of the whole company. But just so that people understand on an everyday basis, how does this translate, this financial relationship and this collaboration relationship that then is being created between the two of you?
So yes, you're right. I mean, I haven't mentioned, but it's true that Danone Venture itself is a B Corp, so it's in our ADN to try and do things the best way we can. But to answer your questions on the relationship, I mean, it's the way Danone Manifesto works. Let's start by this: is not only investing. We're always talking about smart money. So we really see us as a way to enter into strong relationship with funders. If we are at their table on a monthly basis or whatever, is because they really valued the fact that we are there, and on the flip side, we also very much value the initiative that they are pushing for. We always try and start, or in the course of the conversations while we get to know each other, identifying few areas of possible collaborations that we'll see would help the company to develop in the right way. It's also a way for us internally to check the tractions that we can have from the Danone business. We really see ourselves not as one of those corporate venture that are in full autonomy versus the rest of the group. We really see us as a link between the investment we make and the rest of the group. So that's a bit the way we frame things from the beginning. Now, specifically with Phenix, we've really discussed, and it was quite natural, to be honest. There were lots of talks internally about what we could do in terms of food waste. And I would say, and I say it again, lots of talks and lot of actions. So bringing Jean with me on few COMEX conversations, I think helped the company to start moving, specifically on some actions. And honestly, I'm a bit harsh on Danone people. They have started already. They were not waiting for us to do something about what we waste. There were already initiatives internally, but I think the fact that we are investing and the fact that Jean took the time to come and discuss with the high end of the people internally has accelerated some sort of ideas internally, and maybe we can elaborate further. But I mean, we have ignited some ideas and some labs that I think will bear fruits, hopefully widely than only Danone.
Do you want to build up on that, Jean?
Yeah, I can confirm that's what motivated us to come Danone on board. It's because they are not just a financial investor; they also an operational partner. They have a very good vision of the food, of the future of food, of the food market in Europe, in Asia, and the US. So it's very precious to have them with us. And we can also, with Paul, who is very much involved in the connections between the operationals and our team, we can also co-construct and co-build the future of our services, our products, to make sure that we really fit the need of the clients and we really fit the need of the industrial. We were very much expert on the retail sector because working with Franprix, Casino, Leclerc, Carrefour, and so on. But we were more beginners with the big industrial in food like Danone. So we got a lot of information and a lot of expertise from them. So a very good relationship, very constructive. What Paul doesn't say is that another big difference between a traditional VC fund or venture capitalist fund is that they are kind of evergreen because they are investing on their own funds. So they want an IRR, a return, but they can be more patient than a traditional fund who has a life cycle of 4 to 5 years on its investment line. So that's also an asset for them. Patient capital and taking care of the impact.
And that's also one of the reasons we're so happy to have you with us, because you're really illustrating another type of partnership that can exist, but is being leveraged by the financial aspect, but was not triggered in the first place by it, but it's being strengthened by the financial relationship that is binding the two of you, so that you're creating more collaboration, as you were saying, on an operational level, but also on the decision-making level. And usually, especially with B Corps, the idea is always to benefit all the stakeholders and not only shareholders. But in your case, you have actually shareholders that are on the same page and the same line of thinking with your ambition and the impact that you want to have. So you can actually very easily combine the interest of shareholders and the other stakeholders, because your shareholders also have the same ambition and are part of the stakeholders. So we wish that would be the case for maybe more companies, so that we can have this alignment and make things easier, right? Maybe also build up on coming back to Paul and Danone Manifesto Ventures, and extending to go back to the first part of the session where we were talking about the role by finance can play in changing the economic system. I would like to ask you from your personal background, not just as Danone Manifesto Ventures, but what role do you think finance can play to help to have such an economic system that is working better to incorporate impact at its core?
The role that we can play is be selective, and that's what we try to do all day, every day, while talking to entrepreneurs. And that's what we can do. I mean, there's so many projects existing into the overall ecosystem that, at least on our side, we are truthful on the ambitions of people. And it's true that life is short, so let's work with people we want to work with. That's honestly one of the first things I've learned as being an investor in venture capital, is everything is done by people, and so all the time we've started investing, or we invested actually into companies just for the product or for what it was done. It's been a difficult moment. Even though the product was very much spot on what we were looking for, and that we said, okay, we will help the team, etc. It's been super difficult stories. I wouldn't say it hasn't happened, but it was difficult stories. So everything starts with people. And it's true that in the way we select ventures at Danone Manifesto, we are very truthful on that. And we see people who are looking for something else than doing, I don't know how you say it simply, but doing something good for, would it be the planet or for health? People looking just for money or for importing something that already exists somewhere. We are most of the time not following. So that will be my quite of simple answer as to how finance can just help evolving towards something that makes more sense.
And in your case, transforming the whole food sector, right? Because this is part of the manifesto of Danone and what also Phenix is doing. Maybe Jean, I would also be very curious to have your opinion, being yourself a partner and on the other side of the wall as a partner of impact investing fund. What do you think could finance do, maybe also to help us further as an entrepreneur to set up this type of common system and to be more mainstream, that indeed company can integrate both impact and financial sustainability?
Yeah, I very much agree with Paul in the way that finance and venture capital or impact investing is not a finance job. It's HR job, and it's more about founders market fit rather than business plans and Excel spreadsheets. So I do agree with that. And now, how can finance help? I mean, finance is here to help the scaling of the project and the impact at scale. you don't really need finance at the beginning to do the first prototype of the product, or to start and start from scratch. But once you want to scale, you want to hire a dream team, you want to go abroad, you want to strengthen the technology, then you probably need a couple of funds, and that's where finance can help. That's when the funds help Phenix to get more professional, to have the means of our ambitions. But finance is not in François, as we say in French. It's a means. It's not the end of the road, and you don't need to celebrate fundraising, even if it's a temptation. You just need to use the cash wisely and make sure that when you're invested, will improve your impact and will make you go further and faster.
And that's a very interesting point that you're raising about how we do we define the success of such companies in the economic system. Usually we look at the unicorns and how much money that was raised, but the impact that the company is having is not so much mentioned usually when we talk about this. And we had also an example in France recently with Emmanuel Macron that was making on LinkedIn a post about how France was becoming more and more digital by quoting unicorns, but not quoting the tech for good aspect. And I've seen also that Jean will be representing tech for goods to talk to the president to have him change his mind. We hope so, so that this would also be something that will be on top of his mind when trying to develop the sector in France, and even for other countries to be inspired at a European level. So we wish you good luck for that, Jean. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. We are trying to make things change here, but building unicorns is great, and it's a good ambition, because you create jobs and you create very, very powerful brands, etc. So I mean, I'm not against this politics, but we could dream collectively of building a couple of impact unicorns. I think it's. We should have this mission to capture also the extra financial impact of the startups, and to celebrate companies that are not valued 1 billion, but that impacted 1 billion lives, for example, impacted positively. So, but in France, the ecosystem is still lacking of credibility and visibility, because we are lacking success stories. So. We have now a couple of big successes, like Back Markets. I don't know if you know about them. They are refurbishing mobile devices and laptops, and giving a second life to electronic devices. So they have a very good trajectory. We are one of them also. We're not the only one, but yeah, my job is to show to the president and the government and the media that. It's not a dream. It's no longer a dream. It's becoming a reality. We are creating great companies, creating jobs. We have traction, ambition, but at the same time, we are following the SDGs, and we are trying to make the world a better place. And it's also a big asset to hire talents and to hire the best team and the best developers, for example. So it's also a very good asset to have a mission, a strong mission, a powerful mission. It helps a lot.
Neila, I would add one topic on your questions of how finance can impact positively. We all talk about fundraising and big money here, but I think there's two other ways. I mean, finance people, the finance approach, which is tracking things and looking at the way to measure it, has some sort of an impact, and I think that's what B Corp is doing as well. Is just trying and measure progress, etc. And I feel that the two other ways the finance environment can help is to bring into the headlines the metrics that are not only financial metrics. And I think the RSE trends and all what comes with it of showing in a different way metrics. Play a role, and I think finance people and finance as a whole could very much embrace this. And I think the second topic is putting those metrics towards the consumers and towards the wider numbers is even something that will be even stronger. I mean, we love to say that the consumer is voting every time he's buying something. If every time someone is buying something, he has also some other KPIs about what will be the impact on the planet or what will be the social impact of what he's buying, I'm sure it will change lots of trends and therefore impacting where money flows. But anyway, that was just a thought.
And that's a very interesting thought that is directly also building back on the previous part of the talk with Marilou, who was also encouraging every citizen to play a part, because as you're saying, that with the way that people are buying, they're actually voting and exerting their power, but also about their savings and where they're placing them, about the choices that they make when they themselves invest. Every choice that we make as a citizen is actually impacting and influencing the overall system. And what Mario was saying is that by also the power of citizens, even regulations could then be influenced to change, to adapt to those new expectations that citizens are having. So thank you for this very powerful message, indeed, having more transparency and more systematic impact measurements that is part of the system itself, of the mainstream system, could be a key success for us to have a system that is more congruent in general, and where finance can support the businesses and not the other way around or being a constraint, but really having something that is leveraging both sides, as what you're illustrating, both of you today with us. I would like maybe to open to our questions to the audience. We have received a few. So hearing from the audience, there was one question that was about what were some of the hard conversations you had to have with each other in order to develop this positive relationship? I don't know if it's a tricky question. Because you do have a very positive
I can start, Jean, but I mean, the way we operate, at least at Danone Venture, the way we try and be, and you will tell us if that's the case, but it's not to influence the strategy, but very much towards into the support of the entrepreneurs. And so if there is friction, so if different point of view, is just in a way to generate the right choices, and everything is led by the entrepreneurs. So at least from my end, I don't see any difficult conversation that could happen because the objective is just caring about each other in a sense because we are on the same boat. So I don't see it straight, direct, difficult conversations. But anyway, Jean, tell me if there's
No. It's not difficult. So far, so good. I mean, like in every investment relationship, at first you have the traditional discussions around valuation, dilution, bylaws, and pacte d'actionnaire, shareholders agreement. But once this, it's more a discussion between lawyers than between Paul and me, even if we give a point of view. But once this is behind us, then on a day-to-day basis, we have like one quarterly board when we arbitrate big strategic decisions, like should we kill this feature, should we launch this product, should we launch this market, kill this one. So sometimes we are not. We don't. Everybody does not agree on the direction, but at the end, we always find a compromise, and we agree to disagree. And then once we disagree, we commit to the decision. So we don't have any big fights, zero fight. We just discuss and defend our point of view, and it's the good thing to do.
But it's true, Neila, there's another questions about the way to bring alignment between investors. And it's true, it's pretty tricky. Huh? Me personally, I'm discovering this world because I'm not an investor for ages. But it's true that that's one of the complexity founders and entrepreneurs has to manage. And the professionalism of investors that's sitting at the board, the maturity of them counts a lot on when to talk, when to contribute. Honestly, it's a job, and so everyone is learning. But it's true. It's completely part of the what founders have to manage in the overall scheme of things.
Yeah, take into account the point of view, but not too much, and stick to the initial vision. And yeah, it's right. And at the same time, you need to do some politics because you have 8 or 10 people around the table. So yes, it's a full-time job, but it's part of the job, I guess.
And Jean, since you're mentioning that, that would be interesting to know, how do you manage those different expectations, since there is no consensus in the way that we're assessing impact right now, and you have various different investors. How do you manage those different maybe expectations coming from all your various investors in Phenix?
Yes, it's true. We have, I mean, the overall color of the picture is more towards impact, but we have traditional VC players. We have green tech or clean tech investors based in London with a more financial approach. We have the BPI, which is a public funding company in France. And we have a corporate venture player with Danone. And we have also a family office. So we have different range of investors with different approaches, with different timelines and expectations. So, but that's also the beauty of Phenix, that we are trying to meet all the expectations, both in terms of impact, in terms of growth, in terms of at some point valuation and etc. So we are trying to satisfy everybody, and I think up to now everybody is happy to be on board with us. Probably the next thing we will have to manage is the next cycle, because one of 2 or 3 of my investors are looking for an exit in 22, 23, and a couple of others can wait or want to stay on board. So we will have to rotate the cap table, the table of capitalization, but that's and to onboard new investors at some point. But I have 2 or 3 years to go, so it's okay.
I guess it's always good to anticipate, and hopefully you will have some other investors that will come knock at your door, hearing about the success of Phenix and be interested to join the adventure. From what I'm hearing from both of you, it's really this key success factor that could be useful for others to follow, is this alignment in mindset and ambition that is really smoothing and strengthening the relationship and making everything easier. And at least having this, what looks like to be a very constructive relationship, where it's not always perfect, but there is communication and then an interest that is common enough, a common ground that is enabling both parties to move forward towards the same path. So that's very interesting, and I do hope that we will have more and more examples on this illustration. Maybe coming back to Jean, and since we are also part of a disruption forum that is organized by the really important Tech for Good also company, NetGuru, and the next session that people will be hearing will also be about how NetGuru is translating what the concept of Tech for Good. Could you let us know more about what you think that tech has brought up for Phenix? What are the benefits to be a Tech for Good type of company in your case?
Yeah. We started Phenix with it was more a low-tech company with a service approach. We're quite intensive in terms of HR, and then at some point we decided to switch for a product-centric company and for a more Tech for Good company. And it helped a lot to scale, to deploy our solutions over all the French territory and abroad. It helped to be more efficient for product managers, etc. And it's one of the way to have a mission that can scale quickly and with a big ambition. If you're just a consulting firm, then you can have a very beautiful company, but at some point you will be limited in geographical ambition or in the scaling, or it will be too heavy in people. With the Tech for Good, you can reach any country, and you can manage your product from Paris, for example, and have an impact in Madrid, in San Francisco, in Berlin. So that's the beauty of it. It's very much easier to go abroad. And yeah, it helps also attract talents because it's sexier, it's more attractive, probably. So that's my point of view. It helped. It was not decisive in the first years, but when we decided to scale and have a lot of impact, it was the only path to go through digital tools and digital assets.
Thank you so much for sharing that, and we hope that also inspires maybe other entrepreneurs that are listening to us right now, so that they see how to make good use of those opportunities bringing by tech and technology, but also innovation and innovating for a purpose, bringing innovation to be really useful for the people and the planet, and then following your lead in also having a successful entrepreneurial adventure, bringing together this financial success, but also a financial impactful on society. Since we're coming now to towards the end of our discussion, unfortunately, we will need to leave in a few minutes. I would like maybe to leave you some space for last few words that you would want to share with our audience today. Who wants to start?
Well, I can answer the last questions that was on the stuff. How many supporting companies we have at Danone Manifesto Venture? Today there's 18, 18, and the footprint is most of them are in the US. We have 5 in Europe and 1 in India. And it's all about changing the food system, as you said, Neila, and how long such relationship with one venture lasts, as long as it have to be. In most of cases, we are here to support. In some cases, it makes sense to think about becoming a Danone integrated company. In the case of Phenix, I don't think so, because it's a venture that is not core business for the group Danone, but we never know. So that's to answer the questions. And also, no much things to add. Neila, thank you for the invitations. Always nice to interact and to contribute to the B Corp, B Lab organizations. And so thanks again for the invitations. Happy to answer any questions. If there's any others, you can shoot it to me, and I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you.
On my side, maybe 2 messages. The first one is entrepreneurship looks sexy from outside, but inside it's complicated, and it's a long way, and you have a lot of ups and downs. So to be able to stay in the long run, it's very much helpful to have a strong mission. It helps you have motivation along the way, and so that's also the beauty of social entrepreneurship at Tech for Good. That you're not just building a cash machine. You're building something with more sense, and it helps a lot to keep motivation. That was the first message, and there is a lot to do in terms of sustainable development and Tech for Good. So it's also a very good sector to fund a company and to start a company. And second message is we are very happy to have Danone with us, and we are very happy to be part of the B Corp ecosystem, because we need collaborations, and we need the B corporates to have a substantial change. If we stay on our side and if we stay at the Phenix level, then maybe someday, inshallah, we'll reach the 100 million revenues, but it's peanuts versus Veolia, Danone, etc. So we need the big ones to do the shift. So I think it's also part of our job, both at Phenix and B Corp and at Tech for Good, etc., to show the way, but to take with us the big players who have a huge impact at scale, much more powerful than the one we could have on our way alone. So it's cool to do those kind of testimonies, because I think and I hope it inspires other big companies like NetGuru and all their friends.
It's very interesting that the word, I think, collaboration is really like coming along a lot in everything that you're saying at all level, in everything that you're doing and your vision, your mindset. It's all about changing the whole system and scaling up so that you can have a greater positive impact. So this continuous improvement and how much further you can bring a positive impact, but also about how you're always keeping this mindset of being constructive and working together towards that common goal. So on that note, thank you a lot for both of you for coming today. We also that will inspire others to do the same, that indeed big players would play a role because they have a high potential for impact, and for also startups like Phenix to come and disrupt them on the other side. It's coming in the middle, right? We're waiting for scale up, but on the other side to disrupt and innovate. So I feel there is a good composition, a good cocktail for a successful relationship. So on that note, I would like to close now the conversation, unfortunately, because we have to leave a space for the next conversation to come in half an hour. But so we are now closing this first session of Interdependence and Pact, this area of BLab Europe, and this session of Sustainable Finance, also part of the Disruption Forum. A huge thank you, so again, for the NetGuru team with Tomasz, Carolina, and Katarzyna for making this happen, and also to my colleagues from BLab Europe, Yeliz and Katie, who are now in the backstage, and Katie before moderating the previous panel, for also making this happen. And just before we leave, this is has become kind of a tradition for us in our Interdependence and Pact series. But on behalf of all the European B Corp community that we are representing also today and that you're strongly attached to, we wanted to share gratitude for you to come today, and also to give you as a sign of gratitude to offer to plant trees for you to benefit the French B Corp called Reforest Action, but his initiative is to combat climate change. So it's about walking the talk, taking action, and having a really positive impact on the planet. So thank you again for all of this, and for all the audience, please stay tuned for the next session, Tech for Good, hosted by NetGuru. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.